y'all to hear me out there. Can y'all hear me out there? I need y'all to hear me out there. Can y'all hear me out there? Through blocks and boroughs, cops is plotting, snakes slither while hustlers chop they product. Foreign cars, exotic, got hypnotic while I cruise through the concrete, blowing my and I move like a diplomat. Hoodie and fitted caps, dwell in the habitat where cons and killers at. Faced 1,000 deaths, cowards are bowed to the feet of the Almighty, a God to the black child. I told moms I would be something. I gave myself to the world, now it's like you owe me something. Listen up, I got a story to tell. It's like I fell out of heaven just to walk through hell, but it fueled my fire, ignited my desire, and gave me the bricks and the sand to build the empire. Going still in my forehead, my faith strong. With all I've been through, you would think my faith gone, but nope, I hold my stand some stone. I move mountains with my will to succeed, that's how I keep going. Won't stop, been the motto. Filthy rich like I won the lotto. It's almost like seeing through the eyes of a crack child. Dodging crisis, 3-strike system, trapped in a vice grip. You can't defeat me, I defy all odds and sabotages. I survived Reagan, I survived the first Bush. Thinking back when my moms gave that first push, thank God for my life, I came through the womb. Until the evil of part 2, God gave me a sequel. Rags to royal, mama had her hands in soil. Pops moved drugs and capsules and foils. I foiled your plans and made you aware, and turned America's dream into a nightmare. Yeah, you feel the vibe, month. The first B.I. ready to die, month. The who shot your 9-5, month. Bad boy for life is I, month. And it's back, better than it ever was. I'm talking like we was gone, but we never was. So I delivered a true funk cut, reproduced more hits, got the boot up on top of the statue, yelling who want what. For the past 10 years, the future is us. Eyes closed like a blow, preview is over, now enjoy the feature. I wanna thank y'all for believing in me for so long. Thank y'all for riding with it. As we continue on, you are now listening to the sounds of the world famous. You know my name. You know my name.
Music, please.
Exciting style of rapping has earned them a gold album in only their first try. They are EPMD.
The E double or the BMD. The E double or the BMD. sound. I highly recommend this. You got to chill, because I'm strictly business. Because I'm strictly business. DMD, the mic's my only friend, and through the course of the party, I kill again and again. Through the course of the party, I kill again and again. I kill again and again. I keep the hands clapping, fingers snapping, and tapping. When it's time to roll, Uzi Patrol is packed.
What's good? Who with us? Ron Dula? Ronald Dula, did I hear that you under restriction? What did you do, my guy? What did you do, Ron Dula? Thank you. Like and share. Ron Dula, what did you do to get on restrictions, brother? What did you do? What's going on, bro? Did you say something? Did you say something to get you under restriction? What the hell is going on? What the LL Cool J is happening when my guy Ron gets suspended or is in some type of punishment with Facebook or social media? That's my guy. You want me to file an appeal for you, brother? I will. I will. Let's get it. Let's go, Ron. What did you say to get in restriction, brother? I'm just curious. Well, let me just start here by saying thank you. I appreciate everybody being here. It is the 5 p.m. Drive Home show with Wyatt. I appreciate you all being here. It's going to be somewhat of a Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Thank God it's going to be a short show type of a thing so everybody can go out and enjoy the weather before the rain come. I think it's going to rain in Cincinnati. I'm not sure because sometimes it says 50% chance of rain, and that's just not a high percentage in the Midwest. The rain is different in the Midwest. I mean, I don't check weather for 7 day. You know, the 7-day forecast. I don't really pay attention to that in the Midwest. Now in Florida, you can look at 30 days out. If they say, okay, today is the 2nd of July, I'm just hypothetically saying, the 2nd of July, you can look at the whole monthly schedule of rain. I don't know how they do that, but you can say, okay, today is Tuesday the 2nd, and I know it's going to rain on Thursday the 28th, and damn it, it'll rain. It's amazing how they do that. I mean, there's not 30 days worth of rain clouds out there. I don't know. Ron Doolin says, you know, I like to drive them crazy myself. I hear you. You must have said something. They're going to put the dome over Taylor Swift. We're safe. The dome? What does that mean? I heard E say something about people was big enough. I don't know where's E at? Is he still on? Should I have taken that part personal? Because I was in the car and I was listening and he was talking about black folks bigging up Taylor Swift and making them better than black artists and shit. I'm assuming I didn't listen to radio, so sometimes some of his shots go toward the host over there, Lincoln, because they got this love-hate type of shit going. They like each other, but they do beef and shit. I mean, like playful beef, and it's entertaining to some people. But who were you talking to, E? Who were you talking about? I'm just curious. Who were you talking about when it came? He'll see this. If he's still on, okay. He'll see it probably. But I'm just curious. Who was bigging up Taylor Swift? I mean, I might big up her numbers, but I don't know one song. I just know the numbers. And anybody that's doing $1 billion in touring got my respect. I don't give a damn if it's Metallica or if it's the Wonder Twins.
I don't care who it is. If you can do $1 billion in a tour, shit, you up with the big dogs in whatever field or whatever genre of music it is. My biggest thing when I brought Taylor Swift up, if it was like me jocking her, let me know, because all I'm looking out is for our children. Who do we have in our culture? This is not no jocking Taylor Swift. This is me asking, what are our kids looking at, watching? What are they absorbing? What is leading them? What are they, who is the artist like a Taylor Swift that we feel safe as parents dropping our kids off and saying, hey, Taylor, take their ass this weekend? And that same artist is not going to say a cuss word on stage, and we ain't got to worry about the safety of our children. Name that artist. Is that jocking her? Or is that basically saying we need to work on getting an artist that can bring 300 million to the Cincinnati area and be positive to our children? Because everybody we was naming that can come do it, that's predominantly R&B or rap, they can't do that. They can't do that. And it ain't got nothing to do with the individual of Taylor Swift. It has everything to do with what's really going on in our culture. There ain't a gospel singer that can do it, an R&B singer, or a rapper. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I don't even know one Taylor. If I heard one of her songs, Taylor Smith, if I heard one, I could be like, oh, yeah, okay, that's that one shit they play on the radio. But that's as much as you're going to get out of me with a Taylor Swift. I don't know what song she wrote. I don't know any of that. All I know is, as a number guy, I pay attention to the numbers. And she's bringing $300 million to the city of Cincinnati for the weekend. Them strong numbers. And she's going to leave here and do it again in the next stop. She's going to do $1 billion. Now, if that's, look, I'm not caught up on black and white so much as some other people. Everything got to be black and white. I'm just not into that type of shit. I keep I just got a bigger radar of life. I don't see everything through black and white. They stopped making black and white newspapers a long time ago. You notice that everything went digital and it's all color. Yeah, that's called that's a vivid. Picturing is vivid. You can see the colors and everything. Let me go to the phone lines before I get too far into what I'm talking about today. Good afternoon, caller. This is Wyatt. Who am I speaking with?
Wyatt, it's Tracy on a Friday. How are you?
Tracy on a payphone. What'd you say?
Shut up, clown.
What did you say? You say this is Tracy on on what?
On a Friday.
Oh.
See, one of the first things you start losing when you get older, Wyatt, and I'm sure you're like 53 today, is your hearing. Maybe your eyesight. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, the eyesight for sure. The eyesight for sure. I give you that. The eyesight for sure.
Yeah.
But what'd you say you called?
Okay, so let me get this off my chest, because I am like so drained this week with the Taylor haters. Okay. I'm not a Taylor fan, but damn, she has my respect. It's just like, just like you said, who can come here? July 21st weekend, we're going to bring at least 10 to 13 artists here, including that Thursday night. And that whole weekend will still not draw $300 million. It's like, this is economics, right? Exactly. And if you can't just put some respect on her name based on the fact that she's 33 years old and pulling in this kind of cash, I don't even understand why we have to make the comparison. She wasn't nothing until Kanye snapped. Man, listen.
I don't think
whether Kanye did it or not. Look, I'm gonna take it even further.
Wait a minute, hold on.
God is showing her some favor. It should be storming right about now. I think he's gonna shine on her concert just because everybody is hating on her. Yeah, leave that little white girl alone and let her get her coins.
People hate greatness, whether we recognize the greatness or not. The greatness don't necessarily have to be what she get paid for. Her greatness comes in the attention that she's getting from other people. Like I said, Did you see the line down there for that, just for the apparel?
People been here from West Virginia and everywhere else. Get your money, Taylor.
And here go the thing, sis. Have you heard this? I seen some people hating on her so hard. They complaining about how much money that the workers are making here in Cincinnati.
I shut that down, and no disrespect to Alethea, I love her, but ain't nobody collecting trash in the stadium gonna make $20 an hour or more than that. That's why I went to the stores and said it's $12.61 an hour.
Yeah,
the way I look at it is, it could be somebody that don't have a job at all that's gonna make $12.61 an hour or $13 an hour for 8 hours, and they can go eat or pay a bill. Hallelujah, amen.
Or it could be one of our future college students collecting as much money as they possibly can before they go off to school this year.
Hustling.
Exactly.
Yep.
I mean, it just be little bitty things like that be like people kind of search for things just to be, just to be kind of like wrong with her or something. And I'm like,
the other thing, parking is $75. That ain't her fault. Everybody's gonna be mad at the gougers.
But wait a minute. She don't own them buildings down there. She don't have anything
to do.
None
of that.
She can't.
And she ain't getting a cut of none of it.
Exactly, and she can't tell them to make it $15 if she wanted it to be $10.
If you mad about that, park on Gilbert and catch the metro into town.
Exactly.
You'll get to the stadium.
That's the whole thing of economics. Here it is. Look, sis, let's be honest. You and I are partners in business, right? And we own a parking lot downtown that holds 200. It holds 100 cars. All right. The Cincinnati Bengals come in town. We get $25 per car. Okay, that's what we make every Sunday. $25 per car. Okay, but the tickets, the highest ticket is $300. I mean, for like a sideline ticket, $300 is the maximum. So $25 for a parking space for the day is fair. But how would we look charging as business people? You and I together, sis. They paying $2,500 for a ticket, $3,000, $10,000. $20,000 for a ticket, and we keep our prices $25 to park. We would look like idiots now, wouldn't we?
Right.
If you said, Wyatt, let's keep we need to keep let's be consistent. We need to keep our price $25 and everybody else charging $100 for parking. Our parking spaces would be the first ones sitting there, and we would leave so much money on the table.
About 15 years ago, I went to Chicago, my family, and we were crying because parking was like $30. That was their normal. So if somebody charges $75 for one weekend, don't travel out of town because you'll really be mad.
Listen,
parking charges.
Listen, when I go to Chicago, when I used to go to Chicago, I would stay at a hotel and I would do valet. Valet is $45 a day. Okay, it's $45 a day. And think about it. If you stayed a weekend, you didn't pay $150 for a weekend. That don't include the tip. You see what I'm saying? You're going to always get them guys a couple bucks every time they come down. I'm giving $5, $10 every time they come pull my car around. So now you got another $50 in tip. So, I'm just saying.
For me, Wyatt, it's not about who's better than who. Hell, the girl is worth over $700 million. Beyonce's worth 500 something. Rihanna's worth $1 billion. But for me, none of that matters if you don't care about people and you don't do anything as far as serving the people. And I think all three of them do. So they're all good people. But let this girl come here and get her coins and bounce to the next city and get her coins. She's got a fan base just like all the rest of them.
And do it all over again. She gonna fill up that stadium. She's putting 120,000 people in that stadium this weekend. She's gonna fill up all the hotels from here to Dayton. She's gonna fill up every restaurant down there. These are Cincinnatians that
Which means people are working and getting overtime.
Exactly.
Look at good checks.
Look at the Uber drivers, the Lyft drivers, the cabs. Look at the bus.
Everybody.
And I don't understand. My point was this. Did you understand where I was going? Did you see the show yesterday, Tracy?
I did.
Okay. My point was nothing about she's better than black artists. You didn't get that out of that, did you?
No, because I understand economics and how it works.
Exactly. Basically, what I was saying is, who do we have that's positive, who can sell that many tickets and move the economy like she can, that's going to not go on stage and say a bunch of cuss words, and that you can have a 10-year-old sitting down there all the way up to a 25-year-old, and everybody seems to be safe? Who do we have? I mean, don't we?
I couldn't. I tried to. You shut all of mine down. I was trying to. I said Bruno Mars.
Yeah,
He's
I mean,
Filipino. He ain't even black.
I didn't
I
say
said, let me
that.
just
I didn't
stop
say
talking.
he was
No,
Filipino.
somebody else said
I
that
know.
in the chat.
I
Somebody
know.
said that
I
in the
seen
chat.
it. I seen it. What I was looking for is somebody in our culture, not a pop
Yeah.
artist. You know what I'm saying? Not it is. Not a pop artist. But like for instance, if we went and got somebody like Mary J, she's not gonna sell to a 10-year-old. She'll fill it up with us, but she can't bring. She can't put 120,000 people in that stadium. She could bring 30,000.
But here's the thing: you don't make that kind of money unless you cross over to pop. That's the key.
Well, yeah, that is kind of the key, but you still got to look at the fact that our hottest artists, like Cardi B, she's kind of like a crossover artist, to be honest with you. If Cardi B came to Cincinnati, she ain't gonna put 120,000 people in the stands. She ain't
No.
gonna do that.
But here's the bigger thing, Wyatt, that people aren't paying to, that Alicia Reese keeps trying to drive home. After Taylor leaves on Saturday, that stadium is going to go empty until football season. So she's trying to get concerts here so that we can generate that kind of revenue. Well, it might not be 300 million, but you know what I mean? It's going to sit empty until Jazz Festival. So you need people coming here driving up our economy. But, let Taylor come here and get some coverage on the news, and everybody wants to have a meltdown and be sick over it.
Well,
It's way too many other things going on in the world to be sick over something like that.
It is, sis. It's just,
Go out and try and benefit. Hell, I should be in there picking up trash just so I can just have a little gas money or something. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Find a way to benefit from it.
Exactly. Have you been to the grocery store lately? You seen that
right.
You seen that bill when you finish ringing the last item up? Shit, that Kroger card ain't making that much of a difference anymore. I'm
trying to figure out what you're going to put back because it's way too damn much.
Hey, boy. I'm stuck on these peanut butter and jelly sandwiches all over again, sis. I'm telling you, I'm about to start ordering them $5 hot and readies. I'm about to start that shit up again. And now let me ask you something, sis, because I know you got babies that's going to college soon. I know that you went to an HBCU, didn't you?
Yep.
So now let me ask you this. I'm glad you called. Just give me 30 seconds of your time. How do you feel about the decision today that the Supreme Court gave the decision of denying the student loan relief? Did you participate in that? Did you apply? Did that play any factor in your life at all?
Did you say denying the student loans? Are you talking about affirmative action? Which one are you talking about?
The student loan. The affirmative action was yesterday. Today.
What happened today? I didn't hear about it.
Well, the student loan, that thing that Biden promised when he was running for president, and he said I was going to
kept kicking the can down the road. Yeah.
Yeah, he said I'm gonna make sure that kids can go to college for free. And then it went from being free to like the closer they got it. Well, once he won the election, I start hearing it different. And I start hearing, well, you get 10,000 and then 20,000.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the truth. I know what I heard because I did a show on it, and I said this president cannot forgive student loan. He doesn't even have the authority to do that. And I was getting a little hate because of what a fact is a fact. Don't hate me because I'll speak of a fact. My point is this though, sis. You and I remember when he said that he was going to pay the student loans. And then when it got to 10,000 and 20,000, I said, okay, whatever. But today the decision came down where Supreme Court said, no, you can't do that. So now he's going on television. They had a press conference, and Joe Biden gets on the television and blames it all on the Republicans because they didn't vote in an illegal act to use the HEROES Act money to pay out people's student loans. So it's been denied, and I'm telling everybody here on the air, Joe Biden knew that he couldn't do it when he was making the promise back when he was running for president. He knew that he couldn't get it done, but he overstepped his authority. He made false promises, and nobody's going to say anything about that because he has.
Well, here's what I'm mad and not mad about, because that old lady that was running, what was her name? I can't remember the old lady who was running for president. She tried to say the same thing. We're going to wipe away student loans and everybody should go to college for free.
Warren. I think her name is
Elizabeth Warren. I'm mad because both of them were making empty promises and building false hopes, right? But here's the thing for me. if you have the money to just funnel to the Ukraine,
I agree.
damn it, you got to find some money to pay off our student loans.
Well,
I don't care who it's got to go through, who can approve it, who can't approve it. Somebody's got some money for me if they got some money for somebody halfway around the world.
I agree.
That's how I feel about it.
I agree, sis.
And the fact that we even have to start back this repayment plan is a bunch of shit. How are we supposed to do that?
With a
and
bad
like
economy.
You and I were just talking about the grocery
With
store.
The bad
so
economy.
What are we supposed to do?
Well,
pick our poison, pay the student loan, or get garnished, or just say fuck it, we're not gonna eat no more because we got to pay our student loans.
Well, see, that's what you get when you deal with people and you trust and believe what they tell you. You get liars, and when you trust in a liar, now they got their hands in the cookie jar. And now all they have, to be honest with you, all Biden can do at this point is all he can basically do at this point, sis,
is play the blame game.
Is play the blame game. And he could say those dirty, and this is exactly what he did. And I'm going to tell you what he did, sis, that was so low down dirty. He said them damn Republicans stopped 16 million people who were already approved for the student loan relief program. And they had 16 million people with the checks ready to be cut, and the checks was ready to be mailed out, and them dirty ass Republicans stopped the process. Do you see the shit that he says, man? I promise you.
Well, you know, at this point, it doesn't even matter what Joe's saying, because Joe doesn't know whether he's in today's world or yesterday's world. He's kind of lost and just, I don't know what's wrong with Joe. He's just old. But the thing is we have to take the power back as the people. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to incite no riot, but I bet you if Americans got their asses out in the street and started rioting and doing some shit about these student loans, somebody's going to start paying attention. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because it's just a thing where we're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And it's just, you can't afford nothing out here no more. I just put gas in my car yesterday.
Wait a minute. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. According to Joe Biden, when he gets up every day and people ask him, and he talk in his press secretary, I don't know where this class of people is that exists that he's talking about is doing okay. We're maintaining, but who's doing like great? I mean, come on. What? That's what I'm saying. Because you know why? You know why? Because he don't go to the grocery store. They got the White House chefs and the cooks. He don't go to the gas station. They got the limo and all that old shit. He don't have to put fuel in the plane that he ride in. He don't have to put fuel in that damn limousine. He don't
pay cell phone bills. He don't do none of that.
Everything for them is free. I mean, somebody pay, and he's lost. This guy, they are lost in touch.
We pay.
But here's my thing, though, sis. I'm just asking you because we all in the same bucket here. Who is he talking about when he says Americans are recovering? We're doing great now. The economy is going down. And I mean, the inflation is going down. We are such more we are working from the middle to the top up. And we're making sure that the middle class can now start affording things. And we're going to start taxing the rich. See, this is what you do when you want to divide people. All you got to do is talk about how rich other people are, and it'll make the medium class people and the lower class people, it'll make them upset. And that's just a pure divide and conquer type of situation. And Joe Biden did it today when he made that false statement and said it was a misleading statement. When he said we had 16 million people approved, which they did, because they were approving people.
I got my letter. My son got his letter.
That's what I'm saying, sis. And everybody, see, that's to put you on the edge of your seat and pray and hope that shit get done through when they knew it wasn't.
That $20,000 wasn't going to put a dent in my student loans, which is, hey, don't even get me started.
I know, sis. That
don't even touch the interest. Fuck out of here.
That's what I'm saying, sis. And people lose in touch. They don't understand. But here's the thing. You know how elitist you sound. You know how stuck up we sound saying 20 grand. The people who saying to us that we stuck up for that punk ass 20,000, it's because they don't know what $100,000 loan look like. They don't know what 120. They don't know what that 125 look like, and they don't see the interest growing. They think we snumping our nose up on 20,000.
That's
no,
like
we're
throwing
not.
A pebble on the beach. Exactly. I said what I said. $20,000 is not going to scratch the surface of my $100,000 student loan. So I ain't taking it back. So it can sound any way it want to sound.
I'm with you,
but
sis.
It is what it is.
I'm with you.
It's a drop in the bucket, and you know you can throw the student loan bill in the casket with me because that's where it's gonna go. 6 feet under. It ain't gonna get paid off.
I mean, good luck. There's a lot of people that's just giving them what they got. And you know what? The only authority that the president of the United States has when it came to the student loans, they can act on the HEROES Act, okay? And all they can do is eliminate the payments for a period of time. They can't just dissolve, they can't do away, they can't delete, they can't eliminate your payments. He has no authority to do that. He knew he couldn't do it. It's written in law. And the reason it went, look, this is not the first time this man took something to Supreme Court just to stall. He did it back when he first got in office. Remember when he was doing some things and he was like, well, I knew we wasn't going to win. He said it on the air. I knew we wasn't going to win, but hey, you got to give it a shot. He took something else to the Supreme Court. Look, he's not.
Unless I move to the Ukraine, we'll be guaranteed to be taken care of.
Great point, though, sis. Let me tell you where you had an excellent point. This is what I have a problem with. When Biden got in front of that camera today and said made all those virtual signals and shit, let me explain something to you what he didn't say. He brought up the Republicans stopped this. He brought up how he compared it to the PPP loan situation and how Republicans got the PPP money. And he compared it to all of that, blaming the fact. But you know what he never brought up? He never brought up the $100 and something billion that's been sent over to Ukraine. He didn't say, as a common man, a real person like you and I, like what you just said, a real motherfucker would have stood up and said, well, shit, if Congress can see that Ukraine need 120 billion, why don't we see that our kids or our people in the country need student loan? See, he didn't want to go there with it. He didn't want to bring up real shit because that's a question that real people would ask. Comparing this student loan situation to PPP is apples and oranges. And when you get off the phone, I'm gonna explain it.
Okay, I'm getting off the phone.
All right, sis, I'll talk to you. Thanks. Have a great weekend, okay?
You too. Bye-bye.
Talk to you. That's Tracy Dillingham agreeing with me as she always does. I'm just playing, sis. I was with you today. She hung up the phone and heard me say that shit, and she about wrecked. I can't stand him. He always get me on the end. I'm just playing, sis. Anyway, listen. Joe Biden did that old slick shit again today. He did exactly what he does. He blamed the Republicans. He blamed everybody. Look, they got a new plan out that they stood up and they said, since Supreme Court won't allow us to do this, since we got shot down because of the Republicans, them dirty and nasty Republicans, them rich folks that don't want nobody's bills to be paid, they student loans to be paid, like Republicans don't have student loans. He said he blamed it all on them that the Supreme Court came down with this judgment. Now, he compared it to PPP. I can't wait to rip this up. I can't wait to rip this up. He compared it to the PPP. He went so low and below the belt. He went so low and below the belt, he named his administration, named some Republicans that received PPP money during the pandemic. Am I the only one who's seen that? Am I the only one who's seen his guy, the leader of the schools, and am I the only one that caught that? Am I the only one that's seen his people name Margie Taylor Greene and some other people and then tell how much money they got? Well, Margie Taylor Greene got $116,000 in the PPP. She voted against the student loan. Okay, Mr. President, since y'all like to play these fucking games, since you want to call out individuals about that money, how many employees do Margie Taylor Greene have in that business? Does anybody know what the PPP money was for? Does anybody know the purpose of the PPP money? Was it to enrich Republicans? Was it did Republicans and Democrats both get this PPP money? Wasn't it to keep our businesses afloat? Wasn't it paycheck protection plan? Wasn't it to keep all their staff paid? Which means Republicans, Democrats, or whatever your fraction of payroll is? Wasn't it to keep people's businesses up and afloat so nobody was shut down? But more importantly, to keep your staff paid? Yes or no? So how do you compare setting up a program to keep the economy, the USA economy up and going? How is that a benefit for the Republican Party? Because Republicans who own businesses got money to be able to pay their staff, pay the mortgage companies, pay their taxes, pay the business to keep the business afloat. So these people will have jobs since y'all want to lock up the country on some old bullshit COVID stuff. Explain that one, Mr. President. How do you compare PPP money to a student loan relief program? How do you compare that? And then y'all went so low because people don't peep y'all game. You go so low that you see, y'all don't understand that they talk down to their constituents. Biden and them ain't saying nothing to nobody that really understand what the fuck he talking about. He talking to the people that don't know no better. I would be insulted if I vote for him, work with him, and was like, yeah, I rock with him, but I understood what he was saying there. I would be insulted if he said the type of shit that he say, thinking that I ain't smart enough to figure this shit out. Aren't you? Aren't you insulted that the man said if you don't vote for him, then you ain't black? Aren't you insulted that this man sat here and said Margie Taylor Greene got $116,000 of PPP money, but she voted no for the student loan relief? Did he ask if Margie Taylor Greene, did he say that she had student loan debt as well? So you telling me some of the Republicans who voted no, all of them, none of them have no student loan debt? You trying to tell me that the Republicans who voted against this bullshit ass thing that you were doing, and you know it was virtual signaling, you know it was wrong, you knew you couldn't do it constitutionally, you knew, Joe Biden, you couldn't do it, you just stretched it all the way out to the finish line. And the reason why you did it is because you had to make a promise that you knew you couldn't keep when you was running for president. When you were running for president, you told us we was going to go to school for free. Anybody that know Wyatt live from the beginning, I told you, he can't do what he's saying he can do. He's not going to be able to send these kids to school. And what did I say if you know me? If you've been here, I said, oh, shit. Now, I tell y'all what, I'll surrender to Joe Biden if he make this happen. Y'all know I said that if you've been here. If you've been here, I told you before, I already knew he couldn't do it. The HEROES Act don't cover that. It's unconstitutional. You got to go off to war, and they don't even delete your loans. They can, what do they call them? Defer your payments. That is the only right this man has. And his own party tried to tell us nobody would listen to it. Y'all still stuck on what he say and not paying attention to the real rules and what's really going on. And how I'm going to tell you and how I'm going to prove it, check this video out right here. Y'all forgot about this lady, huh?
People think that the President of the United States has the power for debt forgiveness. He does not. He can postpone, he can delay, but he does not have that power. That has to be an act of Congress. And I don't even like to call it forgiveness because that implies a transgression. It's not to be forgiven. Just freeing people from those obligations. So the question of who gets forgiven, to use the term of art that is out there, is a debate. Do we use whatever money there is for the broadest base of support of those with more people with even less debt or fewer people with more debt? That's a policy discussion. But the difference between the president can't do it. So that's not even a discussion. Not everybody realizes that, but the president can only postpone, delay, but not forgive.
So now, y'all know that was during the time before he even had a plan. He had already put the lie out there. He had already put the story out there and had everybody believing that he can do it. Nancy Pelosi had been questioned. Somebody from that party had to step up and tell the truth. That was in 2021. That was 2 years ago when she said that. And y'all still sitting back waiting for this thing to go through the courts as if it's going to pass when you know it's unconstitutional. Even Nancy Pelosi, being the Speaker of the House, told you. And now y'all got a problem. He trying to make it seem like, see, I was working for the people. No, the fuck you wasn't. You do what you do. You lie to your constituents. You make false promises. You make all this government assistance shit that you know you can't do. And then you do what most people do who know how to work court systems. And that is push the shit through the court. The longer it's in court, the more attractive and appealing it is. And it seems like it's hope. It gives people hope. Do you really want a leader that gives you false hope, or do you want a leader that's keeping shit 100? Brenda Harris, you don't like the truth? At least I'm not CNN. They talk about Trump over there every day. I'm talking about the current president and the current administration. So you must not like CNN then, I'm pretty sure. Because I couldn't dare listen to something of a has-been politician, the ex-president. If you cut CNN on right now, they either talking about affirmative action, they talking about Donald Trump, or the decision today on the school loans. Little bit of Ukraine. But Donald Trump on CNN controls the whole narrative over there. Controls the whole narrative. They talk about January the 6th still. They talk about you know what? They talk about all the people that's coming into President Trump's, or Donald Trump, President Trump's trials, all these people. But I ain't heard them mention not one time of a whistleblower on some shit that puts Joe Biden in some shit right now. You don't think that should be talked about? Your president has derailed investigations to him leading to corruption. Now, y'all know good and well, if this was Trump that had whistleblowers coming out of the IRS aligning him up with $10 million, y'all would have trucks sitting outside of that damn compound that he live in. They would have the radio towers and the big ass satellites outside his house talking about that shit all day. It'll be on rotation. What the Supreme Court say, man, fuck that shit. We don't care nothing about affirmative action. It's that Trump shit. It's that real shit, right? We don't care nothing about the student loan shit getting canceled. We don't care nothing about those decisions. We don't care nothing about the gays not being able to. We don't care nothing about the LGBTQ and all. Oh, come on. Come on now. They'd be talking about Trump and his kids that made all this money. They would do that. Because this is the only way Biden can get in the office. What has he done for you? My sister was just on here. We all getting our ass kicked at the gas station and at the grocery store. You're not? Your 401k ain't taking a turn? So bash Biden. Bash the current administration who keeps me going to the gas station every other day. Who, when I go to the grocery store, remember the days, y'all, that you go to the grocery store and you can maybe shop for like a week or two? Who's doing that now? Raise your hand. I was going to say some slick shit, but I'm going to keep that one to myself. Raise your hand if you go into the grocery store and you buying groceries for 2 weeks out. Because you're going to spend $400. $400. And if you're doing that shit, you getting the EBT card or you're buying one from somebody. Ain't nobody going to the grocery store buying 2 weeks worth of groceries anymore because they can't. You got to put that shit on layaway. Yeah, let me get them apples, man. I'll come back and get them. I'm just saying. Shit, can I put this cart? What a layaway line in Kroger's. I'm gonna get these groceries, man. I'll be back to get them in 30 days. I'm gonna put something on them though. Here, take this 20. Who doing that? I'm talking, Mama Birch, I'm talking about people that got families. Who doing it if you got a family? Shit, it's tough for a husband and wife to do it if they alone. I mean, that's hard to do. Tell me who it's booming for. I'd like to know. I'm not suggesting that we don't have jobs, but let me ask you something. If your job is not giving you a raise to match inflation, shit, we just really happy to have jobs. But if everything is going up, you have to give or take on some things. Like Tracy just said, shit, I can't pay my student loan and everything going up. She is America. She is America. She is what most Americans are going through. All of us. We have to pick and choose what we gonna go out to dinner this week, or we gonna buy groceries for the week. People making those decisions right now, but we got an administration that's sitting up in your face telling you that the economy is booming. That it's booming. Hey, LaDonna Howard, it don't matter if you live alone or not. Be honest. When you go to the grocery store, don't you get less in your bag and it costs you more to get it? You might not have a mouth to feed other than yours, but you still have to be able to recognize the difference than what it was a year or two ago. I went to the grocery store. Y'all seen my bags. I spent $82 and some change, had 2 raggedy ass little plastic Kroger bags. No, I didn't buy the organic and the high price stuff. No, I bought some regular shit. It was damn near a whole dollar. It was damn near a whole $100. But you got to see the difference. Now, let's get back to what he's talking about. Let's get back to this. Biden said in a press conference today, I'm talking about the current president. The current president told the people on the news channel on his press conference today that the dirty Republicans stopped his plan. Supreme Court stopped your plan. The Supreme Court stopped something that was illegal. Joe Biden, why didn't you just say that? Why didn't you say that someone questioned it and made you sue to make it happen, and you got to court and you lost the lawsuit, and the highest court on the land had to oversee it? And when it got to the Supreme Court, which they rushed it through because the people were involved, when it got there, it got turned down. It's unconstitutional. And you knew it was. Here's the trick bag right here. I'm going to repeat myself, then I'm going to make a new point of something. He said 16 million people, he said this on the air, 16 million people were approved and ready to go. And we had the check sitting there. And we was right as we was about to send them checks out, the Republicans said, no, don't do that. Really? Really? Like sis said, Tracy said, yeah, me and my son got an approval letter. Well, we got a couple of approval letters in our home too. But the virtual signaling and the set y'all up to act like he doing something for y'all shit, that shit is amazing to me. Here's the lie, and I'm gonna prove it. Here's the receipt. Back in like October, November, before he got in office, when they were still running debates and he was talking about this free school shit, and I said, it ain't gonna happen. I said, I'll surrender to Joe Biden and be a big Joe Biden fan, and I'll stop everything. I won't say anything bad about him, negative. I'll make up shit if I have to of how great he is. I'd have to do that. But I said I'll do that if he can get my baby free school. If he gonna get my baby through school for free and shit, like he said, I ain't gonna never say no. I'm Team Biden, but I knew that wasn't gonna happen. So that was a very, very slim line of a promise. One thing that I noticed that he said back then was this: we have a plan. We have a plan. No, he didn't. He didn't have a plan. You know why I know? You know how I know he didn't have a plan? Because all this time he's had time to prepare because he knew he was going to lose. Now they went to the drawing board. When he was running for president, he didn't have a blueprint of how to do this. He just thought he'd throw some shit up against the wall and see if it'll stick. That's that shit that you just seen get turned down by the Supreme Court. Because you don't know any better. The people that he's talking to, he know they don't know any better. And he know the go-to card is, well, if this shit don't work out, I already know I can blame the dirty ass Republicans because they already don't like them. The blame game. So now let me prove to you that they didn't have a plan. Because now they got a plan. They didn't had all these months while this thing was going through court to really sit down and try to think of a way to do a student loan program. It's called the Higher, and what is it? I wrote it down. It's called the Higher Education Act. That's the new plan. So now let me ask you this, Joe Biden. When you were running for president against Trump, why didn't you have this Higher Education Act's plan when you were telling everybody how much cheaper you were going to make college? You was just talking shit, wasn't you? You was just saying things for your constituents, just so people would be like, yes, pay attention to him. Pay attention. You could have had this Higher Education Act plan in your plan. So soon as you turned into the president, you could have enacted. You could have put it in motion right away. But you was just talking shit and you just got caught in a lie. See, you can't run that by me. You can't say you thought the fake shit was going to slide by and nobody was going to catch it. So now all of a sudden, okay, here's the question that the media would ask. Why didn't you start the Higher Education Act in the first place? Where was the brain power in your team? Where was that in your, this is what I'm going to do? You know how the local podcast and radio people were asking the black politicians and the politicians, period, on city council, they were asking them like, hey, do you have a plan for black folks in the city of Cincinnati? And everybody was like, yeah, go to my website. You can see it on my website. The economic growth of black Cincinnati. This is what I plan on doing. Well, ain't none of that shit been executed either. But my point is this. When he was talking all that shit about free college, where was this in his website? Where was the Higher Education Act when he was saying, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give free college. I know I said free, but I really meant 10,000, 20,000. Where was this Higher Education Act in his admission? On his website, in his plan? Is this something that he could have told Ice Cube that he had in store for black folks? We'll never know. We'll never know. But nobody got a heads up that this shit was going to get denied in Supreme Court when Nancy Pelosi in 2021 told the world, told Democrats and Republicans, the president can't do that. Motherfucking Joe Biden, she said it. Joe Biden is lunching. You know, you really lost it when you say a motherfucker lunching. She said it. She said, Joe Biden can't do that. He lunching. That means you slow. You done did some slow shit. And that's what he did. He lied. Now, this is the man that always talk about the other man always lying. How many lies have we caught this man in that he turn around and get beat up in Supreme Courts, get shit thrown out in the courts? It's happening all the time, but you don't hear about it, especially since they got so much to talk about on the Trump fella. And now that the Supreme Court and all these judgments and all these answers have come out, you definitely ain't going to pay attention to the shit that Joe Biden is involved in. There's a lot of hearings going on right now with this man's son that implements him, that puts him in the traffic of all this bullshit. Why don't we hear about that? Mainstream media don't even talk about it. Why? Why is Trump so important? Why is his activities in this world and the shit that he's accused of, why is that more important than your current administration? I'll say, yes, the shit that Trump is doing and is accused of and being shot out in the courts and federal charges and documents, of course it's important. Yes, it should be talked about. But are you trying to tell me you talk about that all day and don't talk about the current administration? You know what Granny and them used to say? Well, baby, if I ain't got nothing nice to say about them, I just don't say nothing at all. I guess that's what I'll take out of being silent against your current administration. I'm just going to take my grandmother's words of, baby, if you ain't got nothing nice to say about nobody, just don't say anything at all. That only pertains to one side of that political spectrum. Because there's a whole lot of thievery and theft. How did the Biden family become so wealthy? Name a Biden company that you ain't bought no Biden ketchup, hot sauce. You ain't bought a Biden car. You ain't bought a Biden's name. You ain't bought a Biden cell phone. You ain't bought Biden nothing in your life. He don't even own companies. He's never been a main. He don't have a law firm. How did he become wealthy? He got 13 shell companies that he opened up while he was the vice president, and millions of dollars have gone into these companies from overseas. I know some of y'all didn't heard about this shit. Some of them don't because they watch me and CNN. Your black radio don't talk about it, or the black podcast don't talk about it, so here it is. And if you don't believe me, you might want to pay attention to other than Wyatt. If you want to hear it, go out. It's out there. The information is out there. You got whistleblowers from the IRS who said the government purposely let time run out. They let the time run out. The statute of limitations ran out. So they now can't pursue things, and it was done on purpose. It was put on the back shelf. You had whistleblowers from the IRS who said this man had multi-million-dollar situations going on that my supervisor would not let me look into. They told me to just step aside. We got this. The attorney general is now on the front seat and being called into Capitol Hill, and they want him to testify of what happened. Where did y'all drop the ball on this? It wasn't no ball dropped. They hid the ball. You don't hear about that on CNN. You don't hear about that on MSNBC. And when you do hear something about it, here it is. They say, well, the Republicans are saying, and that's the key thing. You can't just say Republicans are saying. You have to say whistleblowers are saying. You have to say people that did business with Hunter Biden and his daddy are saying. You have to say Bosnia businessmen who sent money and have tapes are saying. You can't just say Republicans are saying. You got to say business people, diplomats, IRS whistleblowers. You got to say all of them are saying. Because I already know when you say it on CNN, well, the Republicans are saying, oh, yeah, them dirty, they ain't saying shit. It's more than just Republicans saying, folks. I don't know how you can trust the motherfucker that just sat here and told you 16 million people were sitting on the edge of their seat waiting for this student loan relief when he knew 16 million people wasn't about to get a check. He knew it. Those are false promises that are pushed down that type of administration every day, all day. And then you know what they're building up for? Here's the 3-card Molly play. Everything that he knew wasn't going to happen, everything that he had to challenge, everything that fell out will be on his strategy platform of how to get reelected. And it's going to be somebody's fault. See how they don't want y'all to get free college? See how they don't want y'all, you still got people saying affirmative action has been canceled in America. You still have, I heard it today. Oh, yeah, they didn't cancel affirmative action. Oh, Lord, see, them white folks, them Republicans, they don't understand because they don't want to. They've been conditioned to see situations in a certain way. They've just been conditioned to see it that way. I heard it. Affirmative action has been canceled in America. Look at what the Supreme Court did. Um, Clarence Thomas. He should know better. He went through school. He went through life with affirmative action. Let me ask y'all something. This is going to sound cold. This is going to sound like I don't care. This is going to sound like I'm an elitist. I don't care. I don't care. Check this out. I'm losing people and I'm going to lose more for saying this. Anybody from the hood, anybody, not necessarily from my hood, anybody grow up on Section 8, on welfare, on food stamps, all that shit. Anybody grow up on that? I did. Anybody grow up on that? Did anybody grow up on it? Be honest with you. You ain't got to be honest with me. Just be honest with yourself. Did anybody grow up on the system? Let me ask you a question now. If you grew up on the system, are you still on the system? Did you outgrow the system? Or are you still there? Y'all ain't gonna like what I'm about to say, but who in the hell thought that food stamps was supposed to last us forever? Who in the hell thought that public housing is supposed to be your life, your way of living, your whole life? Whoever thought that? Are you conditioned? You know that's temporary. It's supposed to be temporary. It's supposed to put you in a position to be able to grow out of it. It's not a permanent resident. I'm just asking, and I'm not trying to be nasty, nor am I trying to be disrespectful. I'm just asking you, do you think that the welfare system is supposed to be in a place for you for your entire life? Isn't it just supposed to get you going in life? And you're supposed to utilize it so you can survive, so you can move on and do better things and become self-sufficient and independent? Isn't that the true nature of it? Show me in the contract of a welfare sign up or some shit like that where it says, okay, this is a 20-year plan for you. Show me where it says, okay, we're going to give you this assistance for 32 years of your life. How old are you now? Okay, you'll get that shit for 52 years. Where do you sign on the dotted line where it says it's forever? It's not meant to be forever. It's meant for people to be able to hold themselves up for a moment and go off and do better things. But some people get comfortable. Let's be real. I watched it for generations. I watched it for a few decades. I haven't been alive forever, but I know the plan. I know the system. I seen young girls get pregnant and end up in the same position their mamas was in. And they got an apartment right down the street in the same neighborhood, same court. Had a couple little girls that got pregnant. They lived in the front of John. And then when they got pregnant and had their baby, they moved over on Clark. They got their own apartment, got enough welfare and shit to maintain. And then it becomes a cycle. Then their kids end up having kids at a young age, and they end up on a system. That's when it becomes a normal way of life. You and I both know that's what happened. People don't want to talk about this shit. People don't want to act, they want to act like this shit it just don't exist. Well, that ain't all of us, Wyatt. It's enough of us to be relevant. It's enough of us to be relevant in the conversation. You're saying to yourself, well, Wyatt, man, what you doing? What you saying? Why would you say that? It's like anything else. How long is affirmative action supposed to last? Was affirmative action a contract that was supposed to be a lifetime contract for black folks? I'm just asking. Do we have much more educated black folks in our community now than ever before? Back in the 60s, how many black folks were living in the suburbs, running multi-million-dollar corporations, had black staff? I mean, think about where we are today. Look at the people that you are producing today. I'm going to use my sister who called in. Now, y'all know Tracy say she lived in the Faye. I don't remember Tracy. I think Tracy Perpin. I think she was one of them like the new. I think Tracy was new. I think Tracy was catching the 49 up to the Faye and changing out of her little private school shit and getting on the bus and riding it up to the 49, up to the Faye Apartments and hanging out with the sisters because she was new. Y'all know New from the ATL, that little movie ATL, who daddy was really rich and shit, but she really wanted to hang with the hood kids. Tracy Dillingham is New. That was the girl's name, New. So, but I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. Okay, Tracy grew up in the Faye. She said, I went to Roll Hill, sir. No, you didn't. You just went up there. Shit, I went up to Roll Hill. I played for OIC. We practiced up at Roll Hill. I never went to Roll Hill as a student, but I could easily say, yeah, I went up to Roll Hill. I used to be up at Roll Hill all the time. That's where we practiced baseball. And make it sound like I went there. Yeah, I used to go to Roll Hill all the time. I went there every day. She said, I went to Roll Hill, sir. Who was your teacher? I'm just playing. I wouldn't know. I didn't go to Roll Hill. But I'm just saying, let's use my sister as an example. She did grow up in the Faye. I was just giving her a hard time. You got to wake them up sometime, make sure she was still here. I'm going to use Tracy as an example. Tracy grew up in the Faye. Tracy don't live in the Faye. Her kids ain't never lived in the Faye. So why should she get the Faye Apartments her entire life? The Faye Apartments was so her mama and them can maneuver. Her mama put her in a position to further her education. She graduated from an HBCU. I don't know what generation of college grads she come from. You more than welcome to put it in there. My point is, the Faye helped her mother put her in a position to go off and go to school and get out of that Faye Apartments downtown, Lincoln Court, English Woods, Winton Terrace, streamline. So Tracy gets out of the Faye. Her babies that she didn't have, now y'all know her babies are huge. They big boys, they men practically. So, but they always gonna be our babies. So Tracy babies don't grow up in the Faye. They don't know nothing about the Faye. They know mama used to live there, but I bet you they don't hang out there. She bettered her life. She bettered her children's life. And guess what? Her children ain't gonna end up in the Faye. Not that I'm saying that the Faye is bad. I'm just saying the Faye ain't forever. I don't know what the Faye looked like in the 70s. That's before my time. It is, though. I'm just saying the Faye wasn't in my, I didn't know nothing about the Faye. But you know what I'm saying, though, sis. These programs and these advantages, these stepping stones are not for us forever. Y'all didn't even like Clarence Thomas's answer. Most didn't care what he said in his answer. There you go, Andre. Like he said, true. Like I got out of Winton Terrace. You damn right. And once you get out, you teach your kids not to be there. Now, that don't always happen. You got some kids that end up getting out there and making the mistakes and set back all the way to the great grannies and shit. They go right back. And then we bust our ass so they don't have to go to that traditional curse. We bust our ass to make sure our little boys are not having babies and our girls aren't having babies because we know how that shit works out. We know the trap that it is. That's where good parenting come in. But my point is this. When was welfare, food stamps? When was all that shit supposed to be set up for life for us? So now let me ask you an important question. Whether you would like to answer the truth or not, is affirmative action a lifetime thing? Is it supposed to be in place for Black people forever? Now, I'm going to tell you something that I do believe. I believe there should be a system in place. I don't know if it's affirmative action. It probably is. I believe there should be a system in place that is going to include all minorities. But you have to be careful there, because there are minorities that are going to get into that zone. They've already challenged it. It's the Asian Americas that just stumped down that affirmative action to college admissions. I said it yesterday. That was not the dirty Republicans. That was not the dirty old rich white man and the white woman. It was not them. It was another minority who pressed the issue of discrimination. That's who knocked that down. Understand that before you start, oh, well, Biden said. He ain't, come on. Of course he gonna jump on that bandwagon of, it's the Republicans' fault. See, it's them conservative Supreme Court justices who said Black people should be able to discriminate. We should be able to discriminate and put them in a better position than other minorities. There's some people that look at that and say constitutional law says that's just not right. And if you go by the Constitution, they proved that it wasn't right. Now, do I find that the three who voted the opposite in the Supreme Court, does it shock me that those 2 or 3, I think it was 6-3. Yeah, so it was 3 of them. No, it don't shock me. It don't shock me at all that those 3 voted the way they vote. One of them, remember, the sister that got put on there, she only got put on because she was Black. Do you understand what I'm saying? How would she look giving a real answer to something that she used to get where she is, instead of legally looking at it for what the law truly is? She would look crazy because you only a Supreme Court justice because Biden told y'all y'all made him say it in the debates when he was running for president. You made him say that he was going to put a Black female on Supreme Court. You made him say it. Just like he said, well, I'm going to probably put a woman on as my vice president. He is not a president that want to put efficient people on. He is a checkbox president. That's why you got so much shit going on right now that's just collapsing. Because he got inefficient people. They checking boxes. That's not saying that he can't go find a Black woman who's going to be great at Supreme Court. But when you purposely set somebody on there with an agenda, that's what you're going to get out of them. And how do they vote or say anything the opposite of what you put them up there for? Who didn't see how she was going to vote or how she was going to, render her decision? Who didn't see that? Come on, man. Come on. I'm so burned out. Brenda Harris said, what boxes did Trump check? It's always Trump, ain't it, Brenda Harris? It's always Trump. You got the wrong one, right? Because I can answer that. Most people will be puzzled. Most people that you might want to debate with might be like, well, shit. No. Let me take a sip. I'm gonna answer that one for you. I'll just give you one that's more important to me than any of them that you can speak of. The simple fact that Trump solidified funding for HBCUs for the next 25 years is enough for me. Obama didn't do it. Joe Biden didn't do it. But he made sure that HBCUs had funding for the next 25 years. I'd like to see you say something about what Joe Biden has done specifically for HBCUs or specifically for Black people. See, that's a talk radio question over there that they would never answer because they don't know. They might know, but they don't want to know. You can't run questions like that by me. You might get an answer. I'm not a soft target. I don't even need to answer another one because that one right there is more powerful than anything else I can possibly say of what that man may have done or what he may have not done. So whenever I see somebody that y'all call a racist or whatever y'all want to say about an individual, if they doing something for a culture of kids, rendering aid in HBCU colleges and putting money in there to be able to sustain it for 25 years, I can't say nothing else. I'll leave that sit right there and let it marinate. Now, I could reverse it and ask you a question. What has Biden done for the Black community specifically? Not all the shit that you see getting voted down and all that, because you know white folks benefit from that. Yeah. Student loan, I can guarantee you more white people were going to get that student loan relief than Black kids were. How much you bet? I know y'all don't think white people are poor in America. I know y'all don't think that's an existing soul. So you don't think that they get Pell Grants and all that old shit. So you think it was all for Black people. That's what he want you to think. But you trying to tell me out of 16 million people that he had checks waiting for, how many of those 16 million were white and how many were Black, how many were Latino, Mexican, all the do the math on that. Go ask Joe Biden and his administration, the current president, the one who said he had 16 million people approved and checks ready to cut. Out of that 16 million people, how many of them were Black? I'll wait. You got a cramp in that finger now, don't you? Little hard. Oh, no, you're driving. All right. I love you, Brenda. I really do. I just need, it ain't no love lost. I love it. I love when people bring it. Because, those are questions that now when they're posed to the platforms that you may visit and look at and all that, you have answers now. Because let me tell you something. Some platforms are catered to, they have ignorant people, not you, not their listeners, not all the time. They have people that oppose what they're talking about over there. And even the people that oppose them and who might like Trump or who might like somebody else, they're ignorant too. They're ignorant. They can't explain why they like Trump. They can't explain what he's done. So they allow people like that to call in and sound stupid, mix in mentality with ignorance and all that old shit. And then it make the people that really don't know certain things, it make them sound like, okay, it's solidified. They some crazy people over there. So now, yeah, go ahead, Mr. Ware, keep talking. You got it, because he sounds crazy on the phone. You right. They are crazy over there. I'm not crazy. I could say one thing and shut all the argument. Every time they say something that don't make sense, I already can tell you where they're wrong. Facts over feelings, Brenda. Brenda said, she said, guess I'll just listen like usual. I'm not going to get beside myself, but my mama always told me to respect people, so I'm going to do that. And I don't have anything disrespectful to say, but what I would have said would have sounded like I was being disrespectful, but it wasn't. It was in good nature. I would have said, yeah, I would do that if I were you. I would sit and listen. Because the question that you asked me was probably a very powerful question on another platform. It was a very powerful question. I hear it all the time. And nobody seems to be able to articulate something very simple as the answer that I just gave you. But that's by design. They want people over there sounding crazy, so it'll sound crazy, so it don't sound true. That's normal. That's normal. I shouldn't say that, but I heard someone from that platform, the station, who's a hierarch. I don't know if she own it or if she's a lieutenant there or whatever she is. I don't know what she is, but she does a PSA to the listeners. And I've never heard someone in that much of a position give that much misinformation to their listeners in my life. And she was talking about Ron DeSantis down in Florida and him getting Black history out of schools and all that old stuff. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy. This is like the rhetoric that I hear all the time from misinformed people. How could you possibly? Oh, okay, now I see why they steady ready carry the content that they do. It's meant to be that way. They're not trying to make things better for Black folks because they're never talking about solutions. They act like there's no solution to the problems. All they talk about is the problem. Conflict resolution is always, okay, find the problem, fix the problem. It's not find the problem, discuss the problem, keep finding the problem, keep discussing the problem. And then they come up with this genius phrase, and that is, okay, big shot, if you know, then tell us how to fix it. Tell us how to fix it. And then when you tell them how to fix it, they say to you, you sound like an elitist. You sound like an elitist. You sound like Clarence Thomas. You sound like Tim Scott. You sound like them Republican, them Black men who are Republicans who are dancing for their masters. Let me ask you something. If I sound like that, then what does Al Sharpton sound like? If I sound like a coon and I sound like I'm performing for my master, and I sound like I'm saying things capping for the other side, I'm trying to big up white people and all this old shit, then what does Al Sharpton, what does Perm in a suit sound like to you? Does he sound like a hero? Does he sound like the answer? Do Crump and them, do they really sound like the key of getting out of where you are? Do they sound like they trying to make a difference? They do to you, don't they? Well, let me just say this to you. It's been a whole lot more of those type of conversations coming from them same type of men for the last 4 or 5 decades. And the needle has moved not through what they talk about, but by what the coon is talking about. It's the coon out in the suburbs. It ain't, guess who living next to the coon in the suburbs? Guess who living next to the coon in the suburbs? Al Sharpton. The same one who can't make a difference, can't make a change. That motherfucker living in a $2.3 million crib. So now, let me ask you this question. Would you rather speak to someone that can make your life better or put you in a path of seeing how they living? I mean, I'm just bear with me. Don't you want to see the person who's been successful? This is how I got it through my life. I want to be around the Paul Whites. I want to be around the Leroy Joneses. I want to see the people who are successful at what they do. I might not even do what they do. I just want to know how to get up every morning and execute something like what they do. Don't you want to surround yourself with people that, like, when I was a young guy, I was 19, I was 20 years old. The first black man I ever seen in my life who owned a home big enough to have a grand piano in it, a bear rug. I mean, damn, a freaking bear laying on the ground. Ain't no shit I'd do, but it looked good. Black baby grand piano, white. This was a crazy crib. Y'all know who it is. It's Mama Deb. Mama Deb and P-Dub. P-Dub is Paul White. That's her husband. They're the first family I had ever. This was the Cosby's family in real life. I was 19 years old. They were the first blacks I've ever seen with something like that. You know what I did? I picked Paul brain every day. He know it. He put me under his wing. He know what I was doing. He became he was never a godfather. You would think somebody twice my age, older, had kids my age. You would think he would treat me like a son, but he treated me more like a partner. I would be a fool not to pay attention to a man like that. Why would I stand around a man that got so much going on with his wife and the family and all that? Why would I stand around and hear about all the bad shit that's going on when he got so much good going on? Shouldn't I stand there and be a sponge and soak it up and figure out, well, how can I have this shit? My house today is patterned off of Paul White's house today. My house today is patterned off of how his house was. He was the first man I seen with a baby grand piano. He was the first black man I've ever seen with the rugs. He's the first black man I ever seen that had a swimming pool in his backyard with lights and, the lights inside the pool and, some chill shit. He was the first man I ever seen do that. Black. And he didn't live in law homes. He didn't live in Lincoln Courts. He had a crib. They had a house. Mama Deb and them do real shit. I don't mean to put your business out there, Mama Deb. I'm just being honest. That meant a lot to me. Because they could have told me, nah, we got kids and shit around. Nah, Rand, we don't, because they call me Rand. If you call me Rand, then you know me, we special. So why would I hang around somebody and just see how I can, where's the negative in this man? Where's the negative in Mama Deb and them? Where's the negative? Why would I do that? Why wouldn't I surround myself with someone like that and pick up all the shit I can pick up? So I ask all of the Uncle Al followers, perm in a suit, Al Sharpton's keeping it real, motherfucker. I'd like to ask y'all, when has he ever put a blueprint out to be successful like him? When has he ever had y'all come out to the house? When has he ever had any of y'all children pattern themselves after him and do his business moves? What business does Al Sharpton own? He better not say nothing about no college. Al Sharpton didn't even go to college. Huh? Boy? He better not come out. All he is a chaos agent. He gonna say all this old shit. They didn't end it affirmative action for black people. They just trying. Y'all heard what he said. Al Sharpton's university was the University of Martin Luther King. He bigged up him and Jesse Jack. They had University of Dr. Martin Luther King. That's the university that he went to. He was their education step. He added their credibility. That was it. He was just smart enough to ride the wave. And he'll be used by any entity that he know he can get paid from. He'll use it. So I'd like to ask y'all, what business motto does people like Al Sharpton have for you to follow? He's not a very good businessman. Obviously, you owe $3 million to the IRS. $3 million. You know how much money you have to make? You know how much money you have to make to owe the IRS $3 million? Amazing. Amazing. Hey, quick thing before I go on, before I move up. I got about 10, 15 minutes left. Let me play this video. I wish Fame, if Fame was here, I really want him to see this. Y'all know we had a discussion the other day, last week, and it was about the man. Y'all remember the man? You know what? Let me see if I can. Yeah, let me play this. I shouldn't play this again because it might turn into a conversation. But I just want to remind you, I'm going to play this video so you'll know what I'm talking about. Remember the man at Spirit Airlines? And the only reason why I'm bringing this up is because have y'all seen what's going on in the airports now? You probably don't, because Buttigieg is the guy that Biden got running the fucking like travel shit in America right now, and it's all up. It's crazy right now. But there's thousands of people locked in the airports right now, canceled flights. They say because of the weather. They say because there's not enough employees, air traffic control, all type of shit. Blah, 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 blah. That all being said, we have never seen so much travel problem in America since the last 2 years. Have y'all seen? Remember last week I showed the video of the man who got in the face of the woman, wouldn't leave her alone, and she ended up swinging on him, and then he came and was like trying to beat her up like a woman. And I said he wouldn't have done a man like that. Remember that? Let me see if I can put that in focus for you real fast. Y'all remember this video? The Spirit Airline employee? Let's play it real fast. It ain't gonna take that long. There's a story behind it. I told you that men shouldn't treat women like this in the airport. Nowhere should they put hands on women. We just seen a son, 14-year-old boy. But I'm gonna show you, just to remind you, how crazy this dude look for doing this with this woman. Check it out.
You haven't lost your mind. Don't touch me ever in your life. You touch me first, and then you got in my face. Don't ever invade my personal space.
Get out of my face!
No, I'm not.
You fucking faggot!
I'm here.
You fucking
I'm here.
I'm
here.
jabbing
I'm
you all
here.
jabbing ass
You're
bitch!
touching me again.
You're fucking
You're touching me again.
Get the fuck out of
You're
my face,
touching me
bitch!
again.
It's all
You're
on
touching
camera,
me. It
sweetheart.
surely is.
You touched
It
me.
surely, but you in
You
my
your
personal
ugly
space.
ass.
You're in my personal
Out of my
space.
face,
You're
bro.
in my personal
You're
space.
done.
Stay out of my personal space. You
Get the fuck out of my face,
she's
bitch.
touching me. She's touching me. And I'm telling you, don't put, she can't put her hands on me. Oh, wait a minute.
Okay, stop it! Hey, hey!
Now, don't you ever put your hands on me. No, get the fuck, everybody back off from me. This bitch put her hands on me.
You're not gonna fight that woman,
This
man.
bitch put
No,
her hands
watch
on
out,
me.
man. You ain't gonna fight that woman, bro. You're not gonna fight that
You
woman.
got the wrong person.
Don't fight that woman, bro.
You got the wrong person. This bitch just put my hands on me.
You ain't gonna fight that woman.
Hey, relax, relax.
You ain't gonna fight no woman.
I don't give a fuck.
Relax, 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 relax.
I fight whoever. I
Put your
fight
hands
whoever.
on me.
I
Take a
fight
deep
whoever.
breath.
Put your hands
I
on me.
fight whoever.
Put your hand.
I fight whoever. I fight whoever.
Knock your bitch ass
Just
out.
Knock me out.
Knock your
relax.
bitch ass
Knock me
Deep
out.
breath.
Knock me
It's
out.
okay.
Trick ass.
Knock
It's
me out.
okay.
You saw what she did.
It's
Don't
okay.
try to-
Get down and show me.
You have
See, that's what real men do. They step up in moments like that. They ain't gonna let that lady get beat up. They just came in a little too late. They should have been separated, those two people, just to be honest. But, who am I? That brother should have been went over there and told that man, leave this lady alone. It don't matter. Go do your job. Go do something else. Y'all probably wondering, why the hell would you show that, man? That's a story, an old story. Come on, man. Leave that shit alone. All I'm telling you is we ain't got real men out here no more. There's a few of us left. But a real-ass employee man would have never got in a man's face like that. He would have never got in a male employee, a male passenger's face like he did that lady. That lady was running out of space. I can't keep talking about what I talked about on that. But that man provoked that whole physical situation. He provoked it by staying in that lady's face, getting in her space. He was hoping that she would throw a punch so he can do something to her. That's a bullshit ass dude. That's a punk ass move that he made. Y'all asking, why did I show that? I showed it because I'm making a, here's a receipt of an employee, a male employee, getting in the face of a man, hitting a passenger, and now I'll let the man speak for himself on how he handled it when an employee from the airlines got in the face of a man, put his hands on the man, and he got dealt with. Check this one out.
Saw that shit? What? Yo, awesome to his hands on the bus. I finished shit. I don't start shit. I finished shit. Right, you want some more? He wants more. Right, you need you, right? You want more? You want more? You want more? If somebody don't grab me, come out of there. Get him. I'm not the one. He works at the airport and he assaults me. I don't care what you're talking about.
See my point? That United Airline guy should have kept his ass behind that counter. He pulled up on that young man. I don't know what that young man may have said. It ain't worth your job and it ain't worth you getting your ass kicked. But do you see the big difference there? That same dude, not same guy, but a guy that worked for the airline, gonna get up in this man's face. Not only get in his face and in his space, this young man was trying to keep his distance and he was telling him, man, get away from me. Get away from me. And then the airline guy struck him, tried to slap him. That's some bitch shit. Slapped him, and he got knocked out. Well, not knocked out, but he got put on his ass. That same video, the first one I showed you where that man was getting in that woman's face, he would have never got in this young man's face. He would have never done that to that man. Here's a far warning. When people say, get out my face, get out my space, or I'm going to knock you out, you better believe them. You better not think that everybody like it used to be when y'all was in school. And that is people that talk a lot of shit. There's enough people out here now that when they say they're going to do something, you better believe them. Especially when it comes down to the physicality of shit. Especially when it's physical. So, for all my people, I told you, that same airport situation, that man that got in that woman's face, here's what really should have happened to his ass when he got up in that lady's face. And I told you, he would have never got in a man's face like that. He would have never got in a man's face like that.
You saw that shit? What?
Now, how does the young man go to jail for that? That guy punched him first, slapped him rather, and the dude looked at everybody in the crowd, including other employees of the airline, and said, did you see that shit? Of course we seen it, young man. Now, I'm not advocating for violence, but I'm just saying, what do you expect is going to happen when you hit this young man like that?
You saw that shit? What? Yo, awesome to his hands on the bus. I finished shit. I don't start shit. I finished shit. Right, you want some more? He wants more. Right, you need you, right? You want more? You want more? You want more? If somebody don't grab me, come out of there. Get him. I'm not the one. He works at the airport and he assaults me. I don't care what you're talking about.
I'm just saying, be careful out here. Be careful out here, man. If somebody tell you they're going to punch the shit out of you, I'm not living in the world today that'll say, I dare you, or I bet you won't, or no, you won't. I'm not going to say that unless I'm ready. Unless I'm ready for it. Let me see if I can play this one last video before we get out of here this evening. Let me see if I can find it real fast. It's a very short video that when you listening to your current president or his staff or his speaker, you know, his press secretary, I want you to remember this right here. When they come out and tell you how dirty and how nasty the Republicans are because the student loans didn't get passed. I want you to remember this right here while she's talking, or when the messages on CNN are being delivered about why this thing didn't happen. Come back and watch Wyatt live to get your notes, and then take this one with you.
People think that the President of the United States has the power for debt forgiveness. He does not. He can postpone, he can delay, but he does not have that power. That has to be an act of Congress. And I don't even like to call it forgiveness, because that implies a transgression. It's not to be forgiven. Just freeing people from those obligations. So the question of who gets forgiven, to use the term of art that is out there, is a debate. Do we use whatever money there is for the broadest base of support of those with more people with even less debt, or fewer people with more debt? That's a policy discussion. But the difference between the president can't do it. So that's not even a discussion. Not everybody realizes that, but the president can only postpone, delay, but not forgive.
Y'all make sure y'all remember that when he starts talking about the Republicans shut this down for 16 million participants ready to go. Ready to go. We had the check. This is what he said in his press conference. 16 million people already approved and ready to go. The checks are sitting there. We're about to mail the checks out, and the Republicans stopped it. There wasn't, not out of them 16 million checks, there wasn't no Republicans in there. Remember that. Remember what he said. Remember what Nancy Pelosi said. This was in 2021 when Biden said what he said. I'm about to get y'all these checks. Now it's time to pay the piper. And instead of him saying, y'all, you know I was fucking with y'all. I was just playing. He can't do it. He should just be like, I was tripping. I was lunching that day. I had my mask on that make me go to sleep when I breathe and shit, when I try to go to sleep at night. I had that shit on. I was just tripping. He ain't gonna say that. He's gonna blame the Republican Party and all the other people. He's not gonna say it was the law that didn't allow us to get this 16 million people paid. He's not gonna say that. He's not gonna say, well, it was kind of like against the law and shit for me to do that. He ain't gonna say that. He gonna say the Republicans stopped it from happening. That's what he's gonna say. He ain't gonna say, well, you know what? What we really should do is take some of that Ukraine money and give it to some of these 16 million people. He ain't gonna say no shit like that. He ain't gonna say that. That's too much like right. What he will do is compare it to something that's a false equivalent. Well, them Republicans voted yes on the PPP money. Well, maybe they wanted their employees to get paid every Friday or every other Friday so the economy won't collapse. Maybe it wasn't Margie Taylor Greene, who's a Republican, who voted no. Maybe because she got PPP money, she kept families fed who work for her in her company of construction. Joe Biden, How much PPP money did you get? Oh, you didn't get any, Joe Biden. You know why? Because you don't own businesses. You just own shell businesses. You don't really have a product nor a service that you sell, but you've been getting millions of dollars for a non-product service-oriented company. I'm still waiting for somebody to tell. We know how Trump rich. We know how Obama got rich. Obama didn't go in the White House rich, but Obama don't have all these shell companies. Now, let me ask you something. B100, you think Joe Biden went in there doing all this backdoor shit, making millions, and Obama didn't know, or he wasn't getting something? It's a stronger possibility. I'm going to be honest with you. Obama strikes me as a guy who probably shoots all the way straight. I'm just going to be honest. But he's probably a pacer. He's been privileged his entire life. Obama is not a poor black man. He's never been. So an unpoor black man is a patient man. Trust me. He sees the bigger picture. He can pace the money. He don't have to hit a fastball lick. People like Obama who grow up black and can live on both sides of the fence, be a successful black man in a white man's world, and be a black man who's successful, who can relate to the people. That's a motherfucker that know how to get to the bag nice and slow because he know it's coming. He know it's coming. He can sit back and reap all the benefits from being the president. He know the millions of dollars are coming. Book deals, speaking appearances, he can make his money like that, and he's cool. He can keep his hands clean. But people like Joe Biden, he's been a politician for 50 plus years. He only know one way how to get his money. He only know one way. And that's why he's rich today. You can't be rich making $175,000 a year. That don't put you in a wealth category. It don't. You got to hook a crook to be worth millions of dollars, making $175,000 a year. You got to know what stocks are moving. You got to get Belgium money. You got to get Ukraine money. You got to have a crackhead ass son and let him run some fucking suicide missions. You got to have that in order to be worth millions of dollars. It's showing. Just open your eyes, pay attention, and I promise you, you'll see it. But you gotta want to see it. You can't get caught up in this false shit. PPP versus student loan money. You can't get caught up in that. That's ceramics. That don't mean shit. Those are easily broken plates. Easily broken plates. Let me say this one last thing before I peace everybody out. Remember, I won't be here on Monday morning. I won't be here on the 9 a.m. test show next week at all. We're moving to the 1 p.m. time slot. We're going to do 1 to 3. And then you can check out Emmanuel Livingston. I'm going to come on after the radio. I'm going to come on after the radio and I'm going to laugh. I'm going to trip. You can tell them. Go tell them. Wyatt over there laughing at that shit. I'm going to come on after radio in Cincinnati. And then after me, Emmanuel Livingston going to come on. They got me squeezed. They got me squeezed it up in the middle of the bullshit. Just playing. Y'all go have a great weekend. Have a great 4th of July weekend. I'll see you guys Monday, I believe, at 1 o'clock. I don't know. Is Monday a holiday? I'll put a post out if I'm going to do a 1 p.m. show on Monday. If not, I'll see you Tuesday at 1 p.m. And then I'll see you at 5 o'clock that same day all week. All week. 1 p.m. I'll holla at you.
Y'all ready for this?
And then comes the 2 to the 3 and 4. Then I drop the beat I have in store. Lay the lyrics on the top like a rug. Make it sound smooth and later make a dub. Enunciate well, so that you can tell I am not illiterate, no, not even a little bit. Nothing like an idiot. Get it? You want the record? Cool, I'm with it. Let the rhythm take you. Shake it cause it makes you. funky and Rasta. Let's get funky, 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 let's get funky. Watch the smooth lyrics that take place. If you want another reason why it must be funky, yo, I am not a jackass, meaning not a donkey, so I will play the game like it should be played. Drop the funk and do the mix, so the bass will never fade. Ship it to the station in your jurisdiction. Others say I'm dope, and the others think I'm bitchin'. No crowd can avoid the D.O. to the C. When I'm P.E.O.R.I.M.I.N.G. on the stage. See the simple fact is I am dope and known. I rock a funky beat with all the chords, so here's my conclusion. You will enjoy the fusion, and I will ascend with the style that I am using. Knowing that it's tough, finish now a buff. I think I'll let it play, cause it's getting funky and hip hop. Let's get funky, 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 let's get funky. Try to make the funky hip hop music, so check it. Listen to the kick, popping with a click, and with no rehearsals, I'm dropping funky verses. Stupid with the bitch with the thing that you are relying on. You love it when it battles is the fact that I am buying on suckers. Never come close cause of knowing there's no stopping the doc when I am flowing. But in the event someone would try to juice this, stop him in his tracks, show him that I am ruthless. I don't give a damn, don't think that I am joking, cause I don't think he is funny when you're messing with my money. And stick but tell me this, you'll try, you gotta stop him, but with no frills, so I just drop him. Continue with the rhyme and make sure I get mine with no static, cause it's southern SMG to get my 9. But lessons have been learned, now I get it all in front and let it play. When the people say Trey, oh, yo, it's funky enough. Rasta. Let's get funky, 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 let's get funky. Deal with the D.O. to the C. I need a break so I can check around. See who the hell that is sitting down. I want all chairs off the floor, and if he stands to the wall, show him the door. And I'm picking the beat to give you something to rock to. I go non-stop to not to look at the clock. You perceive but can't believe you're being taken by a beat so cool you start shaking and shivering, cause I'm delivering the answer. Haven't seen if you're a hellified dancer. You tried saying but it just won't work, cause the beat is so rough. So tell me, tell it, don't be funky enough. Hip hop. Sing it with me. Let's get funky, 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 let's get funky. And with the help of the Dr. Dre, kick it. Na na na. Na na na. Na na na. Na na na. Let's get funky on the mix now, right? Let's get funky on the mix now, right? Let's get funky on the mix now, right? Let's get funky on the mix now. Hey, put it in the middle and drop it on the one, boy.